Hello and welcome. My name's Adrian Leach. Welcome to Mindset Monday. What I'd like to talk to you about in this presentation is the pain versus pleasure principle, um, and why it's important, how it affects our motivation, and why people fail. Um, Aristotle said the aim of the wise is not to secure pleasure, but to avoid pain. Now, you may not be aware, but the subconscious has two extremes, pain and pleasure. And the subconscious is hardwired to steer you away from pain towards pleasure. Now, that is not something that it's just learnt, it's something that's developed over hundreds of thousands of years. It's hardwired into your DNA. And everything that you do, every decision that you make is primarily governed and motivated by these two fundamental extremes. Even though they're not life-threatening, where to go, what to do, who to do it with, are still based on these two principles. Now, your interpretation of the world is based on the accumulation of experiences through your senses, through your sight, your hearing, your smell, your touch, your taste. And when we have enough of these experiences, we develop coping mechanisms, what I call programs, how we react and respond to life, whether that's to do with relationships, your job, some skill and ability, in fact, everything that you do with life. And once you have enough of these experiences that create the program, the subconscious then puts together a belief system, how well you do it, how good you are, how bad you are, and your interpretation of your skill and your ability is based on the accumulation of these experiences. But what also happens is the subconscious monitors your internal system, your energy system, and your emotions. Now, that's partly connected through to the amygdala part of the limbic system, the reptilian part of the brain, and that served mankind well for hundreds of thousands of years. It's kept him alive. Um, it's there to protect us, and it would keep us worried, concerned, apprehensive as to whether there are wild animals around waiting to jump out and kill us, as opposed to being sort of complacent and going around quite nonchalant and then having a tiger come out and suddenly devour you. You know, it's not helpful. But that amygdala is a coping mechanism in itself, how to deal with life. It's still being triggered today when you experience something that you don't think you have the skills for, or you don't have a coping mechanism for it. It'll trigger the amygdala, and the amygdala will release cortisol and chemicals into the brain that prepare you for fighting or fleeing, the fight or flight scenario. So rather than deal with it, you get out of the situation. Now, when you have experiences, the subconscious is automatically running this process, and it's triggered all the time. Um, Now, your motivational um, experience, what motivates you, what drives you, uh, is an internal goal-orientated behavior in order to make change. And the level of motivation to implement your goal-orientated behavior is acted out only after assessing the potential pain or pleasure scenario of your intended actions. Um, Now, you can mentally override it. Remember, this is done at a subconscious level. You just react and respond as if this is normal. But you can override it with your conscious intention if you're aware of it. So let's look at something like running a marathon. The thought of running a marathon just for the sake of running it is probably overwhelming for the majority of people. Some take pleasure from it, but for the majority it's painful. It's too far, too much hard work. But if there is a long-term if there's a long-term goal, a benefit from doing this, part of the mind. So if you were to run a marathon for a charity, the short-term pain of the training would outweigh the long-term benefit, the pleasure that the children of that charity would receive. Um, Another one might be the going to the gym. The old adage of no pain, no gain um, puts people off. But some people, the short-term pain of pushing the weights and the exercise is worth the long-term benefits of the pleasure of seeing their body change shape, to be stronger, to be fitter, to be more healthier. And you may also wonder why people develop fears, like fear of flying. Again, when you consider the pain versus pleasure, if you're in a plane and all of a sudden you go through some turbulence, or you have a bad landing or a bad takeoff, the subconscious will start firing up the amygdala to get you out of the situation. But in a plane, you can't. You're in an enclosed environment. Is that comfortable? No. Are you in control of the situation? No. The pilot's running and doing everything. So you're in a situation that you don't feel comfortable in, you're not in control of, you're not happy. And if you have enough of those experiences, then you'll find a reason not to fly. And that's quite normal for a lot of people. So every decision that you make is made at a subconscious level, that level that's below the conscious level of awareness. And you will ask a variety of questions. Things like, what does this action mean to me? Will it lead to pain or pleasure? Uh, what action should I take? Is it worth it? So knowing this principle is in operation all the time, this pain versus pleasure, ask yourself those questions. And knowing those questions, what does this action mean to me? Will it lead to pain or pleasure? What action should I take? Is it worth it? Then you can take control of the situation and analyze it and justify whether the reward is going to move you towards pleasure in the long run or towards pain. And you can override it. The more you think about it, the more you work at it, then you can make positive decisions in your life. And that will help your motivation to succeed. I hope that's given you some things to think about, also about why you react and respond the way that you do. Sometimes we feel that we've put our foot in our mouth because we say something or do something um, quite unnaturally, but it's based on your experiences, your programming throughout life. Thank you. Look after yourself, take care, and I'll see you again next Monday. Bye for now.